Thank you, Chair. Apologies for requesting the floor late as you're about to adjourn, but I just wanted to attempt to make some general comments on the discussions today. The discussions have focused on the sections titled Applications of International Law, Human-Machine Interaction, Weapons Reviews, and Human-Machine Interaction again. We didn't make interventions on each one of these sections, but I'd like just to give some overall comments on all of them. As stated in our statement on Friday, the most important section in this paper is the general commitments. It is where the actual rules on autonomous weapon systems are contained and proposed, and these other sections ultimately are secondary to those general commitments and only should serve to clarify those rules that are ultimately needed. But on international law, states that recognize the rule of law should not seek to pick and choose which laws apply and which do not. All existing rules are applicable to these discussions. Significant legal research and publications have highlighted the dangers of autonomy in the use of force, in the application of international human rights law and international criminal law. And if these discussions at the CCW aspire for a framework that is fit for purpose, we must recognize the importance and impact of this issue to society as a whole. Ultimately, though, we need to recognize that existing legal principles are insufficient to deal with the dangers posed by autonomous weapon systems. Our relationship to technology is changing at a rapid speed, and the law must change with it. To quote Thomas Jefferson, the former President of the United States, laws and institutions must go hand in hand with the progress of the human mind. As we become more developed, more enlightened, as new discoveries are made, new truths are discovered, and manners and opinions change. With the change of circumstances, institutions must advance also to keep pace with the times. And so we repeat, we must embrace the need for new laws to deal with the dangers posed by autonomy in weapon systems. On human-machine interaction, the quality and extent of a human commander's interaction with a weapon system is just one aspect of the range of factors that ultimately needs to be considered in determining whether meaningful human control can be maintained. In addition to human-machine interaction, the context in which the autonomous weapon system is used will be relevant in the assessment of whether meaningful human control can be maintained. The greater the complexity of the context, the greater the degree of control that the human operator will need for it to be meaningful. In addition to the context, the human operator must be able to evaluate and predict the system's functions. The system should enable predictability of outcomes that align with the user's intent and the foreseeable consequences of specific actions that are taken. This would help to ensure human responsibility and accountability in the use of force. The user should also be able to understand how a system has worked and how it has worked in the past, and be able to provide a comprehensive explanation, including the conditions that will trigger the application of force. And also on the types of constraints of targets. Autonomous weapon systems that target humans should be explicitly prohibited, as we said on Friday. But if the autonomous weapon system is not specifically designed to target a human, but it is possible that a human may be harmed, for example, if the weapon is targeting a vehicle or a building with humans inside, then a higher degree of human control is ultimately needed for it to be meaningful. All of these considerations should form part of a framework that is ultimately designed to ensure meaningful human control. On weapons reviews under Article 36 of Additional Protocol 1 can also provide an important role in promoting IHL compliance, but these reviews are not a panacea. These reviews provide an obligation to review weapons, means and methods of warfare against states' legal obligations. We therefore need to establish those legal obligations in relation to autonomous weapon systems as a precondition of having effective review processes. They need to be done transparently and consistently, and clear international standards on autonomous weapon systems are needed to ensure that reviews are uniform. But to conclude, we see a need to be clear that these discussions do point to the need for a new legal instrument. If we are identifying certain weapon systems as unacceptable, then a legally binding framework is the proper response and would provide the necessary certainty and stability that is needed now and in the future. Without clarity that we are working towards a legal instrument, our conversation will be continuously impeded by disagreements over the purpose to which our work is intended. Of course, there remain points of divergence, But we are at a point now where such divergence needs to be negotiated through the mode of negotiation at the CCW. So we again urge states to unite in their call for a mandate to negotiate a legally binding instrument at the 6th Review Conference. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The Russian Federation.